interview is part of the History Heard project. The content of this interview may be used for historical research. However, no part of the video itself may be reproduced without the express written permission of an authorized representative of History Heard or Carolyn Kaplan. Today is August 19th, 2009 at 11 a.m. This is an interview with Carolyn Linz Kaplan in Sarasota, Florida. She was born on July 27th, 1924 in Germany. So, when you left Germany, what was that like? Who made the decision and how did you?
Well, it was, when we finally left, it was February 1936. And before that, in 1933, Hitler came into power.
Okay.
And before that, I led a very normal life. I had a wonderful childhood, loving parents, and family. Everybody got together. I lived in a small village. It was just like here, friends with everybody. There were just a few Jewish families in town. We lived among the non-Jewish families, and I grew up with neighbors and friends, and we went to school together. It was fine. In 1933, when Hitler came into power, rules and laws changed, and if you were Jewish, things began to happen, like schools were very unfriendly to the Jewish children. Bricks were thrown through our windows, store windows, house windows. And all in all, it became pretty intolerable to live, especially in a small village where everybody knew you. And although Hitler was very smart in his organizations, they usually sent people from other towns. So because, you were well liked in town, there might have been a hesitancy at the beginning of the Hitler era where people wouldn't have actually come and threw a brick through your window or whatever. But anyhow, so about 1934, just about a year after Hitler's power, my parents were very young. They were in their 30s. And which is probably old to you, but it's very young in the span of a lifetime. And when they decided that there was no place to live and raise children and live in fear, so they decided to write to, my dad had two brothers in America, wrote them, and he said, if we can't go to America for some reason, we're going to go to immigrate somewhere, and we'll probably choose Palestine, which later became Israel. So in fact, I have some books where that's even that application is actually printed in a book, where it says, where do you want it, where he made the application, and where do you want to immigrate to, and it said America or Palestine. And so if you want to see that, I can show that to you. I hadn't thought about it. I have it handy here. I have a lot of my German books handy. So anyhow, so that's what prompted us to make inquiries as to how we could leave and what it would entail and so on.
Was it difficult to leave? Did you have to go through a lot of...
Yes. In order to immigrate to America, you have to pass at least we did. I don't know how it is with everybody, but at that time and place, you had to have physical examinations, and everyone in your family had to pass that. And you had to have also emotional and mental qualifications. In other words, if there was mental illness, you couldn't come into this country, or if you had some kind of a disease or weren't perfectly healthy, at that time you could not enter America. Luckily, we were a young family. My brother was a little boy. In 36, he was 5, so he was born in 1930. So in 34, he was a pretty little kid. And so anyhow, so we had to do that.
Did you leave family members in Germany when you, extended family?
Yes, we left my grandfather my mother's dad was living then, and aunts and uncles and cousins. We had to leave everybody, which was very difficult to do.
And did you have any friends who were Hitler supporters?
Oh yeah. Actually, I have a school picture. I think I might have it in here, where even in my time there were 2 or 3 girls on the picture already in a Nazi uniform. For girls, it was similar to a brownie uniform. They were brown. The uniforms were brown.
Oh wow. So when you were leaving, did you go straight to America or did you stop anywhere else?
Well, just en route, we stopped in England for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then came straight to America, luckily.
I'm sorry. What was it like to hear about what was going on in Germany when you were in America?
Well, first of all, when we arrived in 36, we exchanged letters, with grandfather and so on. In fact, I have a copy of the first letter we sent to Germany.
Oh, wow.
And the homesickness and the longing for family was very strong, especially in my mother's letter. Mine was more like the excitement of the new country. But it was worrisome because they couldn't write you, what was happening, but you heard things every now and then. And then, of course, when Hitler entered the war with Poland in 1939, all mail stopped. So.
How were you greeted when you reached America?
Oh, it was wonderful. First of all, we didn't come steerage. You hear so many stories. People come steerage, people that go through Ellis Island. That's people who arrive here without having been cleared through a consulate in Germany. All of this, of course, changed later on. Things became very bad. But in my time, you went through the legal channels. You had your affidavit, it's called, that somebody vouched for you, that when you would come to this country, that you wouldn't become a burden to this country. Well, my dad had 2 brothers. Blood relatives was another requirement. If you didn't have blood relatives, it was difficult to get out, unless you were a professor or a scientist, and this country was eager to have you. But if you were a common folk, you had to follow the rules. And I actually, as I'm an adult now in this country, I rather resented the fact that people try to enter here illegally, because my parents had to wait for a number. They had to wait, and here they were really starting to be persecuted in a very bad way. I was stoned coming out of school. I was threatened to be thrown out of a moving train by Nazis when I was no longer able to go to the school in my village, and my parents had to send me to a Jewish day school in another town. So things became very harried. I witnessed people being beaten up for no reason or other, just because they were of a different religion. So it was, but when I came to this country, I was welcomed beautifully. We were on a beautiful ship. Once we got out of Germany, under tremendous threats, and there were, people didn't want to buy our business, people didn't want to buy our home, and they withheld our passports so we could get out. And finally, they said, well, this couple who wanted to finally buy our business at tremendous sacrifice, loss to us, they said they wanted to get married, and so my dad said, well, if you people don't issue our passports, there's no reason for us to leave. So then, of course, they did give us our passports.